morning. We're live.
Wow.
Here we go. Live on the internet. Hi, guys. I'm here with Katherine Fogler, a photographer of Katherine.
Kathleen's another Toronto photographer. Check her out.
So far, so good. Katherine Fogler Photography. And we're here today to talk about how to take better pictures. I have so many clients that are taking their own pictures. If you can't afford a professional photographer, or it's just not in the budget right now, how can we optimize what we have? And that often means using a smartphone.
Yes.
So how can we optimize what we have to take the best pictures for our social content? And it's not that hard.
It's really not. There are just a few things that you need to know about so that you can make choices instead of having things sort of happen by accident. So should we talk about the first thing, composition?
Yeah, the first thing, composition. We talked about this just before we went live, and I learned something. So please share with them what you were saying.
Okay, so should we pull up your phone just to show them the grid?
Yeah, okay.
So if you blog or if you have a product that you want to feature, I can't really see it in here. Yeah, you kind of can, maybe not. Anyway, there's a grid function on your iPhone.
Lines.
Yeah, there it is. And this is how you play with your rule of thirds here. So I want to put your point of interest on any of the places where these lines connect. Just traditionally, that's more dynamic, it's more interesting. Of course, like all things in photography, these rules are meant to be broken if you want to try something artsy, but make sure that it's a choice. So if something's just right in the middle of the center frame, it doesn't have quite the same movement as something that's in one of those places.
So it's almost like instead of having something centered, just have it off to the side.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the space is just empty.
Well, you can fill it with whatever you want. I mean, if you want to get super technical, I mean, you can have something in the bottom left corner and then have your eye come in there and then maybe have another thing in another point of interest up here so that your eye is sort of doing a nice circle.
You know what the first thing I ban from so many Instagram accounts is when I'm working with clients? I mean, I ban with all the love in my heart is group pictures of friends with their arms around each other just staring down the frame, because it's what you're saying, it's not a dynamic picture. Even if you have just one person smiling at the camera but it's a little bit off center, that's already adding so much to the image. And in terms of Instagram, having negative space in the image also adds negative space into your entire profile. Negative space meaning this, just space that doesn't have anything in it where your eye can rest. That's the term, right? Where your eye can rest.
Yeah, you definitely don't want too much going on, like maybe not something in all the points of interest. I mean, you can, again, rules are meant to be broken, but giving a thing, something that you're featuring, the center of attention, goes a long way.
Okay, so next thing, light.
So after you've put your product in the perfect position, and you don't want to hire a photographer to come into a studio and light it within a fancy way, just stick it by a window. Make sure that it's well lit and make sure that it's not difficult to see. And something that we were talking about before as well is that if you're doing pictures of people, which I really recommend if you are going to a professional photographer for that, but we'll talk about that at the end, just because headshots are a totally different beast. If you're doing a picture of someone outside, make sure that it's not 12 noon. And if it is 12 noon, you're going to get those nice dark shadows in all of the most flattering of places. So find a place that is shaded. That'll just even out all the lights.
It's kind of counterintuitive because you're out on this beautiful sunny day and you think you want to take a picture where the sun is like bright and beaming, but you're actually going to have more success in a more shaded area. Did I talk about your credits? I didn't even credit. Did I say all the places that your work's been featured?
Oh, go on.
Well, they're going to trust you more if they know that your work's been featured in the Toronto Star, the Globe and Mail, Now Magazine, and Post City magazines. And Katherine specializes in headshots for actors, but she also does a whole lot of lifestyle photography, maternity shoots, and family shoots. So this sort of active outdoor stuff is exactly where her specialty lies.
Yes, I do a ton of outdoor stuff. Families always want to go outside to their favorite park. And unless you have a nice external flash, never use that pop-up flash on your DSLR. It's never flattering. It just gives like a bright, flat look to the face, and no one looks good. Actually, on like the fancier cameras, they don't even have that as an option.
Do you know what I told this client? I was going to pull it up, but maybe I'll try and put it on the screen in post.
In post, which we're
Just-
going to talk about next.
Yes. Know what time of day the light pours into your office or the light pours into your apartment.
Mm-hmm.
Note that, and then choose that time to take pictures. Like, put it in your schedule, because that's what people are doing. You know, all of these food bloggers and stuff, like, we're taking pictures at the most optimal time for lighting and when it's going to look beautiful, and that's not cheating. That's just being smart. So
Totally.
Find a window. If you have bulbs in your house that are really yellow, or in your office that are really yellow, we want to try and avoid that, right?
I mean, yeah, so the next thing we were going to talk about is white balance.
Yes.
And yeah, so, I mean, often when you're in an office, I mean, you could have fluorescents or you could have tungsten, and tungsten gives you a nice yellow tint, which is also not very flattering. So after you've composed your picture so beautifully and it's well lit, you know, the color of the light really affects if it looks professional or if it looks kind of amateur-y.
Now,
So
my favorite app for correcting when I take really yellow photos, because honestly, I do. Like, I notice it all the time, and it bugs me so much if they're a little bit gray or a little bit yellow.
Mm-hmm.
So I use this app, VSCO. I call it Visco, but those are the letters. And it's so intuitive for editing photos in post. You don't need that much. You know, if Photoshop is a beast, and if you're just running a business, you know, you have other things to do with your time. You don't want to spend a whole lot of time on this, which is why we're trying to make it as fast as possible to succeed.
Mm-hmm.
But this app is so good.
yeah, I actually have it on my phone. I definitely do use it. There's another one called Snapseed,
Yes.
which is excellent.
Yeah, Snapseed. A little bit more challenging because
Yes.
you're playing with shadows and stuff in a different way, but also a really good app to download. And even just iPhone has a few options in the camera. We were talking for the yellow light in Visco, there's an option called temperature.
Mm-hmm.
And in order to take away that sort of amber glow, you just need to cool it off by moving down the temperature.
Yeah, so it's really simple. And sometimes you're looking at a photo and you don't kind of know why it doesn't look great. Try going into the white balance feature. There's also a little dropper. It gets a little more complicated maybe. There's something that looks like a little medicine dropper. And that basically, if you put it on something white in the photo, so if you have a white piece of paper that happens to be in the photo, or a white wall, you can just click it and your camera will automatically adjust all the other colors according to that being white. But if it's not white, things might turn purple or another color.
I
So
had
make sure
no
it's
idea
white.
what that dropper was for.
Yeah.
Seen that dropper a million times. Never knew what to do with it.
So yeah, but if you don't have a dropper, if you think something looks white, just for interest, just move it a little bit cooler on the temperature scale, a little bit more blue, and you might go, oh, that's white. Never mind. I thought that was white, but it wasn't white. And then you can go back and be like, oh yeah, it was a little bit more yellow. I'd rather things be too cool than too warm. That's just me.
Yeah, you know what? Same.
Mm-hmm.
Same, and it depends. Like, it depends what your feed looks like. If you have a lot of warm colors, maybe what's a sort of job? Maybe it's like a veterinary clinic. That would be better to have some warmer colors,
Yes.
so it's not as intimidating as brash. Like, the whiteness can be brash. And if you're a clinic or something like that, where you want to make people feel welcome,
A
you
spa.
you might want to move
warm.
towards warmer colors.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and so post, we talked about that. Oh, just cropping out. I heard this tip recently. I know it's supposed to be your tips. Now I'm giving tips.
Oh, please, I want to learn.
Crop out everything that you don't like. Like, make sure everything in the frame is something that you like.
I think that really speaks to composition. When you're composing a picture, photographers call it like a hat. If you're taking a picture of someone, like, don't put them right in front of a pole. So there's just like a pole. Like, it seems obvious when I say it, but something that you don't really think about when you're focusing on the thing you're taking a picture of. Oftentimes there's a garbage can, and then when you're going through your photos at the end, you're like, oh, why didn't I notice that? Garbage can.
No one wants to see a garbage can.
No one
on
wants a garbage
Instagram.
can. And if I may, it's so great to do all your own photos. You don't have to explain to a photographer what you need and what you want. The one thing that I would say, find a professional photographer for is a headshot. Don't use a selfie on your professional profile. Don't use it.
Do you see that happening?
I do. I see it a striking amount. Or photos that just like a friend has taken with you just like up against a white wall. Just don't do that. Don't do it. You have one chance to make an impression. Go online to the city that you're in. Toronto headshot photographers. Go through a million websites.
Or just go to katherinefogler.com.
Go to katherinefoglerphotography.com. But you know what? Yeah, go to my website, see if you like the photos. But if you do like the photos, don't stop there. Ask other people who have shot with me what they think. Was it comfortable? Was it fun? Because it should be fun at the end of the day. This is not surgery, which, you know, I'm sure is not fun for anyone.
They should also use warm colors. If you're a surgeon.
If you're a surgeon, use warm colors.
Warm colors.
Yeah, because, I mean, a few clients I've had have been reshoots. Actually, a number of them have been reshoots because, you know, their photos didn't look like them or they didn't like them. And it really comes down to really just choosing someone who you can communicate with. And
that's for actors and also for professionals.
Yeah.
Professionals on LinkedIn. You know, you're connecting with hundreds of people on LinkedIn as a professional, or on your business website. Like, these are the opportunities to really shine. And, you know, it's realtors also. There's so many headshots for realtors. And if they're good, if they're professional headshots for realtors, I can look at 100 realtors and tell you exactly who they are.
Yeah.
Like, that's how specific it is. I'm like, oh, she chose that scarf for really specific reason.
100%.
You know, that comes down to branding and a whole bunch of other things. But like, if I see someone who's got a cell phone picture as their realtor headshot, I judge them accordingly, and that's just nature, and that's just like the nature of branding.
It's too bad. It actually is too bad because, you know, depending where you go for your headshots, they can be pricey. So it's something you have to spend the money on, really. I actually really do believe that. There are photographers, though, that will be in your price range, so just look around.
And when dealing with a professional photographer, it means so much to have a few professional shots strewn through your social platforms.
Absolutely.
So if you're taking everything on your own, but once a week or every couple weeks or whatever's in your price range, you can add a few professional shots. That's going to amplify the, like, just the whole essence of your profile. It's going to make you look that much more like higher caliber.
Totally.
As well.
100%, especially ones that are going to be staples throughout. So like a headshot, or yeah, if you're a fitness instructor, like a couple photos of you doing it, what it is you love, like more of a lifestyle type feel.
Oh yeah, I love that. I love fitness people, and with the lifestyle shoots, it's so good. Yeah. It's so good. That's what I follow. Okay, guys, I hope you've learned something. This live stream will be available. You can go ahead and rewatch it so you can get those tips rocking, and we're also going to post it as a separate video. I'm Jenna. This is Katherine, and I'm going to link to her website as soon as we log off. Thank you so much for making the time today. Go out there and be excellent. Bye.